Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Serge, and welcome to another episode of Search for the Truth. And my goal by doing these videos is to really educate and empower people to take in charge of their health. Especially the last couple of years, there's a lot more people looking for options and answers to their health issues. So this is why I do that. And today we're going to talk about gut health. And I'm really excited to have my next guest, Miss Chelsie. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Serge. It's so good to be with you here today.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us. And if you guys have any questions, please let us know in the comment section so I can ask my guests your questions so we can get answers to what you guys are wondering about. So, Chelsie, tell us a bit about yourself and why you have a passion to help people with the diet and the health issues.
Well, I came from a seemingly healthy background as far as people thought they knew in my life. But the truth is I started very sick as a child, and I started getting a lot of these they were called genetic diseases in my family, right? The blood sugar imbalance, the stomach issues, the hormone issues, and all those things. And the older I got, the more sick I became. So I ended up training as a traditional nurse because I knew that I wanted to do something to help other people overcome some of the things that I was going through, even though I had not overcome it in my own life. And when I went through nursing school, I realized that I wasn't really on board with a lot of things that was going on because I was being told the same story as my patients, right? That medication and surgery was the way out. And although I wasn't getting well from those things, after going through nursing school and finishing, I was reaching my sickest point in my health, and I began to look in other places for answers. And I started realizing that food is medicine and our bodies were actually created to heal themselves. And I went on a mission to heal my body naturally, and that's exactly what I did. And I attempted to partner with a lot of people on my path to wellness, and I found that all functional medicine people weren't created equal, and I couldn't really get a lot of the answers that I wanted. And doing that, I realized that this information is so needed. People need a way out. I am currently symptom-free. I'm on no medications. My organs are functioning properly. My gut health is cleared up. My hormones are balanced, and I feel better at age 40 than I ever have in my life. And I'm truly just on a mission to share that. I'm so passionate about it because people need the information and I want them to know. And as long as someone will listen to me preach about health, I will talk about health because, and I even wrote my book, Healed His Way, for that very reason. And it is just it's a simple approach to natural health that has all the tips and tools in it that people can just read and devour and implement into their lives so they can truly see lasting change. So that's my goal.
Wow, fascinating. And from what you just said, I think it gives a lot of hope to people because a lot of people feel helpless, hopeless, especially when the medical doctors give them a diagnosis and they say that it's genetics, it's two genes, and you only is your family, you cannot do anything about it. But what you're saying is genes don't dictate your future, right? There's something you can do even though you have this gene for that, whatever. So your lifestyle is really important, right?
Yes, it is. And I think that we put so much faith in our genetics. We put faith in the medical system. And I love the medical system. I am so happy that we have emergency care and things like that there for us. But the truth is that we look at our family line and we just assume that we're going to get it. We look at disease processes and we just think, oh, we're going to have to get sick as we age. And the truth is that there is another study and it's called epigenetics, right? So we know through the study of epigenetics that we can actually live in health and that genetics is only going to impact us maybe about 10% of the time if we change our environment, if we change our lifestyle habits, if we sleep more, if we eat better food, if we have better relationships, if we heal our emotions. Like those are the roots to our disease processes in the body. And if we heal everything at the root, then we can actually experience health.
Really good point, and I totally agree with you. And I know a lot of people maybe have heard that everything starts from the gut. I mean, we've known that for thousands of years, actually. So what does that mean when everything starts from the gut? What does that mean to have digestive issues?
Yeah, I really didn't see as much of an impact for as far as gut health went when I first started studying the human body. I thought, I started looking at maybe nutrition as the main source, and nutrition plays a huge role. Probably one of the biggest roles I think that we can probably just simply clean up in our lives is nutrition, right? But what I found is that so many times, many of my clients were cleaning up nutrition and they weren't really seeing the results. They weren't getting the results in their lives like I'd hoped or I wanted them to. And the truth is that when we have been abusing the body over and over and over again, then we're creating downstream effects in the gut. And so many different things impact the gut, right? We can go from nutrition. If we're eating the wrong foods, then we're going to have inflammatory response in the gut. If we're exposed to toxins, and that can be through our food, right? Through pesticides, herbicides. It can be through medications. It can be through just toxic lifestyle habits, and also stress. Stress is negatively impacting our gut. And all of those things are compounding. And what I found is that if we didn't address those things, then we were seeing sicker guts. And it's giving place to set up infection in the gut. It's giving place for things called leaky gut, right? It's weakening the gut lining. It's thinning it out. It's allowing those foods and things to seep into circulation. When those foods get into circulation, then we start seeing things like autoimmunity set up in the body. Because the body is like completely under attack. It's like, oh my gosh, what is this stuff? It's in the bloodstream. It doesn't belong. And the body is really intelligent. It's just trying to keep up. It's trying to say, hey, there's something going on here that we need to fix. We need to mitigate. So it starts to elicit that attack. But a lot of those foods and things that we're eating, those proteins, they look very similar to the organs in the body. So we see things like autoimmune thyroid conditions pop up, like something like Hashimoto's, right? Yeah. Because those gluten proteins, those dairy proteins, the casein and the gliadin, they look very similar to that thyroid gland. Yeah. So the body's like, wait a minute, is this something that I need to be attacking? Is this that gluten protein? Is this that dairy molecule? What's going on here? Maybe this guy's an invader too. So it will begin to attack the thyroid. And the truth is that all of this is stemming from this weak lining in the gut. So it leaves place to set up inflammation in the entire body. One of my mentors, Sachin Patelli, says the same blood goes everywhere, right? So if we have these proteins and they're seeping into circulation and the body is attacking and these proteins are going all throughout the body, well, then we're getting inflammation and it's setting up in the entire body. You have a weak link in your body, and that may be from genetics. It may be from something else entirely different. But the truth is that we're going through the very same thing in our bodies, but you may have a different manifestation, if you will, of a different disease process than me. Like my weak link may be hormones. Your weak link may be joint pain. Right? Yeah. Your inflammatory process is going to show up wherever your weak link is. And my belief is that Hippocrates said it really well when he said all disease begins in the gut. And that's just one example of how it can set up for disease processes to spread, into different organ systems of the body.
Good point. And I want to piggyback on what you just said, actually, when it comes to autoimmune issues, because this is something I have observed with nutrition, is when you start cleaning your gut and your diet, those conditions, right, that medical doctors will say there's nothing you can do about it, like Hashimoto's or lupus, they slowly improve and go away like it's magic, right? It's unbelievable what the body can do. And my next question, I guess, has two parts. So you mentioned food. Of course, when we talk about gut issues, we talk about food. So what are the foods on one side to avoid that are really bad when you have gut issues or autoimmune issues or chronic issues? And what are the foods that are really powerful to eat to heal your gut?
Very good. You know, where I think people make the biggest mistake with food is that we don't see food as food. And we really have to go back to creation. We have to go back to what the body was intended to receive as nutrition. And I think today we are a people of convenience, and we have allowed that to dictate what we put in our bodies. And we don't have time to cook, and we don't have time to prepare. And I like to say, you make time for that, or you make time for sickness. Like, you get to choose. And food is plants. Food is meat. You know, those animals, they're on four legs, they're walking around. That is what was provided to us as humans to eat so that we could sustain our life. And when we consume things from a package, then we are sending different messages to our body. So a lot of people will say, well, I need to count calories. And the truth is you don't have to count calories if you're consuming the right foods, right? Because the body doesn't calculate weight and add fat based on calorie consumption. And the truth is that those foods in a package, they're sending a different signal to the body, and they're sending messages. So we have to consider our food as little messengers. Like, what is the food telling us? So if we're consuming 100 calories of broccoli, we're getting a completely different message than if we're consuming 100 calorie pack of, you know, whatever those little flavored things full of chemicals are. So we have to think about the message. And as far as healthy foods, I think the safest way is to just start off with whole plant foods, you know, and fill your plate with as many colorful, rich vegetables as you can. And this is the best way to heal the body. I like to tell my clients, flood your body with nutrition, and you don't have to worry about having cravings and all of those other things, because you will completely get rid of it. Your body is asking for nutrients. So you take something simple like a chocolate craving, right? And you have, you look at the properties that are in chocolate, and you're like, well, why is my body craving chocolate? Well, a lot of times it could be because of a magnesium deficiency, right? So if you correct the deficiency, then the cravings kind of go away. So the more that you flood your body with good whole food nutrition, then the more you're going to get rid of those cravings in turn. And then we have to look at other foods like gluten. And I'm just not a fan of that food in particular, just simply traditional wheat, traditional gluten, just simply because it is, you know, it's not the way that it used to be in nature. We've created these fluffy, beautiful breads. We've added additional glutens and things like that. We've kind of catered it to our taste buds. This is our marketers. They're doing it for us, right? They want us to eat their foods. They want us to buy their packaged products, and they're going to cater to our taste buds. And if they can do that, then we'll spend money with them, because it's important for us for food to taste good. But these foods are actually destroying our body. They're leaching vitamins and minerals from our bodies. And that's what's creating a lot of the havoc. So how can you eat a healthy diet full of good, healthy nutrition and still have nutrient deficiencies? Well, it's because of these different grains and these different products like this that are leaching those vitamins and minerals out of the body. So my goal for anyone looking for a healthy diet is just think about the things that God made, right? And eat that. That should be your main source of nutrition, and steer away from those packaged foods. And just because you're reading the label and it says, oh, it has plenty of protein and it has plenty of healthy fats and the ingredients are clean, it still goes through a processing. It still goes through a manufacturing process. And one thing that I learned in my own body when I first started my healing journey, and what I see a lot of people make the mistake on, is replacing their packaged foods with healthier packaged foods, right?
Yeah.
So I'm eating the gluten, I'm eating the croissant, I'm eating the donut from the dairy, I'm doing all these from the deli, I'm doing all these different things, and these are horrible for me. So let me go a little healthier and just get, the organic version of the protein bar, or, just do something with less sugar. And the truth is that you are still sending a signal to your body no matter what. The food that you're putting in still sends either a health signal, like do something with this to bring me energy, to bring me life, or you're eating dead food. And I love to say you cannot eat dead food and expect to give you life.
You have a really good point. And it sounds so simple what you're saying, right? Just go back to what God created and provided to us years ago. But with our busy lives, and there's a lot of confusion out there. So there's a lot of challenges that people are facing. So what can you do? What can you help them with those people who have busy lives? They are hectic, crazy, and they don't have the time to do what they need to do.
So I spent about 7 years of my health journey traveling, and I was in hospitals, hotels, restaurants, and it was probably one of the most challenging parts of my healing journey. But what I can tell you is, if we can start very small and start implementing whole foods into our life, then the cool thing is it creates this place of energy in the body, so that we actually have the energy and we have more time to create more of a downstream effect as we go. So I like to say, start with the things that you feel you can do almost effortlessly, right? If you can increase your water intake, if you can add lemon to your water, if you can do those small things, then do it. Yep. If you are and then you have to learn where you kind of fit in. Do you have free time on Sundays to prep your food for the week? Maybe you do. I'm not that kind of person. I want to jump into my kitchen and, I want to chop things up and throw them in a skillet or throw them on a salad and be done with it. I want the very simple meals. But the truth is we think that we have to have these big, robust meals. We think that we have to follow these crazy recipes that take hours to prepare, and we just don't. It can be as simple as chopping up some fresh mango with cilantro and adding a little bit of vinegar and some salt and, cucumbers, and making like a salsa with it, right? So little things like that. Top that on some fish that you popped into the oven, and maybe wrap it in, or have another side of vegetable on the side, plantains or some sort of starch that you can put in the skillet with some coconut oil for, 5 minutes on each side. Like literally, that meal is absolutely beautiful, and it is so fresh, and it takes you probably 30 minutes, and you don't have to add a lot of extra work to it. So the key is really finding something simple. And, a lot of times we feel like we have to eat in a restaurant. It's probably one of the worst things that we can do for our health if we're on a health journey. And I know it's convenient. The thing is the worst part of a restaurant is that they're using poor quality foods. And that is, if you're going into a chain restaurant, then you're probably getting rubber for chicken. It might look like chicken, but it's probably not chicken, and you're probably getting a lot of these processed oils that are just horrible. This is probably one of the worst things that we can put in our body for inflammation are these oils, these canola oils and these seed oils. They're using these as our cooking oils in the restaurants. So that's another thing that you can do, is just go through your pantry, replace some of your own cooking oils with good, healthier versions, right? Use coconut oil, use avocado oil, use some healthier cooking oil, get some broth like chicken broth and things like that, and start sauteing your vegetables in those instead of feeling like you have to use an oil all the time, and just really do things that are more natural for the body. I think that the biggest thing is be okay with meeting yourself where you are and take those baby steps, because as you start to do that and you start to feel better and that energy starts to come, then you're going to realize I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. Now maybe you even feel like working out, right? Now you're adding even more healthier foods to your life. The process doesn't happen overnight. It never does. The goal is really sticking with that and learning to tune into your body so that you give your body what it actually deserves. So I have clients who feel like they want to live on protein bars. They're like, can I just have, 4 or 5 protein bars in a day and call it a day? And the truth is that when they switch over to whole foods, they realize that, oh my gosh, I have tons of energy. Like, I didn't realize how much time I was wasting just, resting or relaxing or mindlessly scrolling through Facebook just to fill my time. I thought I was so busy. But the truth is the way that we feel when we start implementing some of these healthier foods in our life is going to give us energy and give us back a lot of our time so that we can be more productive and use that to prepare more healthy food. So
yeah, it is a vicious cycle, right? You have to start somewhere and start where the client is able to do something, a change. I think from my point of view, I don't know if you see that as well, people use lack of time as an excuse, but at the end of the day, we've lost over the years how to cook our food, how to prep our food. It's so simple, but that's what it is, right? Like you said, getting back to a good whole food diet. And we have a question like that just popped up from Casey. Any specifics for inflammations in the joints? What would you say on that?
Yes. One thing that I see leading to inflammation in the joints is just some of these anti-nutrients. I mentioned gluten as one of those.
Yes.
I do recommend getting out 3 things from your diet. If you can do 3 things for your diet, I would get out gluten, I would get out dairy, and I would get out sugar. And if you do those 3 things, then you will see a decrease in inflammation all throughout the body.
Yeah.
I have seen joint pain completely disappear with people removing gluten. Yeah. I have seen someone who thought they needed knee surgery. This is no kidding. Thought they had torn the cartilage in their knee, had surgery when they were younger, and came and said, "Oh, I've torn the cartilage in my other knee." And I challenged them to remove all of the inflammatory things from their diet, to truly get in their, floor, do some stretching, just do some nurturing, do some icing to the knee, whatever they need to do, just rest. And that joint pain, that pain completely subsided within a month. And they, of course, this person's a tester, right? They bring the gluten back in, same exact pain. So those 3 foods are very inflammatory. And if you want to take it even further, I did mention some of those hydrogenated oils. Those are very inflammatory to our system as well. They create a problem, a downstream effect in the body. And a lot of times we're being put in front of a surgeon, saying, "Hey, we need to have surgery on this," when the truth is it is simply inflammation in the body. And I've watched people with chronic back pain completely disappear. One lady was eating protein bars and nuts, and she was just kind of filling her day with snacks and things like that. And she would have one meal in the evening, and just was experiencing chronic pain, a very seemingly healthy individual. And she said, "The only problem I truly have is just this chronic pain. I cannot get it to go away." And it was a lot of those inflammatory foods that she was putting in her body over and over again. So remove some of those, try it out for at least a month, and I think you'll see a huge impact on that inflammation.
Good point. That's a really good starting point. Do you recommend anything else for healing the joints, cartilage? Like collagen is a big thing out there. People recommend collagen or glucosamine or whatever. So what would be your protocol when it comes to healing and restore the joint cartilage?
Yeah. So I love collagen. I think it's an amazing ad. And I usually say it's such a simple ad, because you can add it to your favorite. Like if you're already having some sort of shake during the day, if you're adding your fruits and your vegetables and all that to a smoothie, it's adding a couple scoops of that in there. You get a really clean source of protein, but it's also going to be conditioning to the joints. One of my other favorite things is hyaluronic acid. So, and this naturally will build the cartilage in the body. It builds up lubrication in those joints. Naturally, it builds up collagen. So if you take that internally, and I like, depending on your favorite way to take your supplements, it really is kind of individual to me. Some people like taking a liquid. So a lot of those hyaluronic supplements, they will come in like a little dropper, and you can just add those to your smoothies or add those to a little shot in the morning. Some people want to just shoot back a tincture, but they do make a pill, and it's something that you can take every single day. Like you said, glucosamine. One of my other favorite things to do for joint, for any kind of tissue, scar tissue buildup in the body, is proteolytic enzymes. So these are known to break down tissue in the body, this even scar tissue. I've seen amazing things with sciatica and those types of chronic pain issues. We're talking about fibroids. We're talking about clogged arteries, things like that. You can really do some good damage with those proteolytic enzymes, just kind of breaking down that old tissue. And really it heals. It's grabbing those proteins and it's just kind of softening that and breaking it down. So it's a great way to heal that joint pain as well.
Good point. And we have another question about coffee. I like that question because coffee is a big topic out there. People like the coffee, and there's a lot of confusion. Okay, should I drink coffee or not? I have GI issues, autoimmune, hormones. I mean, it's a mess when you start Googling coffee and the health benefit or the risk. So what is your take on coffee?
This is so controversial, as you know. And I'm going to tell you, my Nana, which is my grandmother, she put coffee in my bottle as a child. I mean, it was like quarter coffee, the rest milk. Okay. Because she wanted me to be active. And I mean, coffee is a tradition for me. It has been in my life, my whole life. And I'll just tell you my personal experience. So when I was, this was probably 5 or 6 years ago, I started getting an intolerance to coffee, probably a little longer, maybe 10 years ago. And I would literally suck on a lemon to rebalance the acid after having a cup of coffee in the mornings, because I knew I wanted my coffee, but my body couldn't tolerate it. And what I did was I started, drinking the bulletproof coffee. I started healing my gut. I started doing all these different things. And I realized that I was probably going to have to give up my coffee. And then I met someone who introduced me to a product called Organo. Yes. And it changed my life. So Organo is a coffee that is a healthier version. And what it does is it has an alkalizing effect to the body, and it will heal and seal things like leaky gut in the body. It has all of these different healing properties. There are over 3,000 scientific studies, which is absolutely amazing, on an herb that God made. And I learned that I could drink this coffee and never have a problem with it. And I've done tests on my gut, looked at leaky gut, looked at all these different things. And if you talk to a lot of the gut experts out there, they say remove coffee from your diet if you ever want to heal the gut. But I'm here to tell you that I don't see that as the end all be all. And as long as you're drinking it responsibly and you're not, drinking a pot of coffee every day, like I did at one time in my life, I've given that up. But if you're having a couple cups of coffee every day, which is typically what I do and what I recommend, I work to heal the gut on most of my clients, because that's what most people come to me for, is issues in their gut, and they're still drinking and enjoying their coffee. It just has a lot to do with the type of coffee you're drinking. The problem is that I see with most coffees out there is if you're doing a community coffee or a Folgers coffee, you have to think about the source. And there's a lot of mold in those coffees, and it's the mold that's causing the problem inside the body, right? There are also a lot of chemicals in these coffees. So when they're cleaning and washing the coffee and processing it, then there's chemical washing. And if you're using decaf coffees, there's chemical washing for that as well. So when you're drinking that, that is a lot of the reason why it's causing so much acidity in the body. So if you choose an organic brand, you're pretty safe. And if you choose something like that, I love Guatemalan coffees. I love rainforest coffee, those types of things. But hands down, I would say Organo is the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been drinking Organo for years now, and I've used it with my clients, like all kind of issues. Like, we had people with cancer drinking the coffee, people with Parkinson's, Alzheimer's disease, depression, autoimmune issues, and the only thing that we see is good, positive changes in the body. It's fascinating. So, why Organo is exactly because they do add a mushroom to it. So, what's the benefit of the mushroom? Because when I talk to people about it, mushroom, it's not just a simple mushroom, it is the reishi mushroom. And it's really powerful, actually. Can you tell us a little bit about why drinking that coffee as opposed to other organic mold-free coffee?
Yeah, so it is actually the superfood in this coffee that makes it so powerful. And there are other brands and things on the market. I've tried them, I've tested them, I've done a lot of those different things. And I didn't see much difference than I did with other organic coffees. And I know personally for me, I still got the indigestion. I still got a lot of the gastric issues by drinking some of those. And I think that there's a lot of power in quality, number one. So I think that's why I'm kind of a brand snob when it comes to Organo, because the quality of the product is amazing. And when you're looking at this specific ingredient, it's called Ganoderma reishi. It's got many different names. It's really an ancient herb that has been used for many years to heal the body. So, and I don't believe that there's like one product out there that's going to fix all ailments, right? I don't think we can say that. There's not a drug out there. But the truth is that there is something amazing about mushrooms. And it is a type of mushroom. It's a type of fungus, right? And it's a medicinal mushroom. So if we look at that kingdom as a whole, then we can see how much life it has. And we start to see, like, even in the mycelium, these guys, they're growing underground. They're creating their own little kingdoms under there, right? They're just living and thriving and growing. They're opportunistic. They're always looking for a place to grow and thrive. And we can learn a lot of different things from this species. And if we start to bring those things into the body, then we're bringing in a lot of that healing, a lot of that energy, a lot of that growth. And if we think about that even from a frequency level, right, we're bringing that into the body and it's giving us life.
Yeah.
So a lot of the studies that have been done on this, even some of the disease processes that you just named, there are studies and they're showing improvement in a lot of these different things. And we're creating neural wiring in the brain, which is beneficial for people who have had strokes, people who have Alzheimer's. We're seeing blood sugar come into balance. So a lot of times it is as simple as taking this herb. People who have been on medications for diabetes I tell my clients, be careful when you drink this coffee, because it could it could have an impact on your blood sugar in a very positive way. So you might want to pay attention to how much insulin you're taking, those types of things. So, and it is really, this herb is acting synergistically with other herbs that we're putting in the body, with other vitamins and minerals and amino acids. And it's really just kind of almost giving them the little boost that they need to become more active. So that's just been my personal experience with it. It's an amazing ad. I haven't seen any type of side effects or anything like that, no ill side effects. And we have to think about that. And it's because this is a food, right? So it's kind of like consuming spinach, right? It's no different than consuming a food. It's just in your coffee, and it has amazing health benefits in the body.
We just got a question about candida and mushroom. This is a question I get all the time, right? So I have candida in my gut, I shouldn't eat mushroom. So what's your take with the coffee?
So when we look at the fruiting mushrooms, they are in the fungus family. And a lot of times people with candida can have a little bit of a problem with some of these fruiting mushrooms, more like the white mushrooms and things like that. But what you're looking at with reishi is that it's a medicinal mushroom. So it has different properties than these fruiting mushrooms do. So I typically see the opposite. And that is that these medicinal mushrooms can actually heal the body. When we do even food sensitivity testing, when we do things like that, they're not testing for these medicinal properties. They're testing for the fungus. They're testing that fruiting body. They're looking at the white mushrooms and things like that. So it's just it's in the same kingdom, like they're in the same mushroom kingdom, but there are just different types of mushrooms, just like herbs are a plant, and leaves, spinach or, green leafy greens, those are a plant, but they have different properties. And it's the very same thing. Like lavender or oregano is an herb, and it's just going to have a more potent healing property than something like spinach or chard or something like that would. So although they're in the same family, they're very similar in their makeup. They're from the plant. They are just different in the properties, the healing properties that they carry.
Good point. And I see the same too in my clients. When you start drinking the coffee, their gut seems to just improve. So it does help fighting the candida, the yeast, and restore the gut flora. Just fascinating. So can you tell us about one amazing testimony story from one of your clients who came to you? She or he was really sick, but with nutrition, you could restore his or her health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I see this so often. There's so many, but I remember I have one of my favorite clients. She was sitting on the couch every single day, and she was going into menopause. She wanted to do so much with her life. She had all these dreams and visions here, but she could not take action on them, right? Because she didn't have the energy. She was absolutely defeated and depleted. She took a trip, went on vacation. She went to Israel, and she came back, and she was so swollen for weeks, and she couldn't figure it out. She had tried every diet, every exercise. She's on the fad diet. She's doing all the things. And, her husband and kids would go to work every day and school, and she would literally peel herself off the couch to cook dinner for them every night. And they were eating toxic meals. And I ran into her at a party, and it was 4th of July weekend. We were at a mutual friend's house, and I said, "Can I just help you? Can I help you with your health?" And she agreed. The very first thing that we started doing with her was we just started cleaning up our cells. I love to help people go through just a gentle detox. I think, that's a great way to just start things out, is detox and clean up the cells, clean up all that old garbage that you got that are like clogging up the cellular energy. And I like to say, just take it in there and power wash it. So I do use nutraceuticals to do that. But after that, we simply started her on a whole foods diet. And it was completely transformational. Now, we did do a little bit of additional gut work with her, added in some botanicals, worked on the pH of her gut, those types of things. Well, those things are really important. If you've had someone living this standard American diet for so many years, you want to create a little bit more healing. And supplements, they're just going to give you a little bit more bang for your buck, if you will. So, but we put her on whole foods. She has lost 50 pounds. She's maintained it. She has energy that she's now an author. She is a minister. She is traveling the world. She's been speaking in prisons. She literally got off of her couch and she became the woman that she wanted to be, all because of a shift in nutrition, a shift in lifestyle, a shift in perspective. I can take no credit for this, because she literally took everything that I said to her and she devoured it, and she began to live it. She immersed herself in it. And she is probably one of the greatest healing testimonies of natural health that I have ever seen in my life. She is amazing.
what a powerful transformation you achieved with her. And that really speaks a lot, because when you start changing your diet or cleanse your body, like you said, everything is possible, everything.
Yeah.
As a final note, so what would you say to someone who has been struggling with health issues? They've been to doctors, and they don't seem to know what's going on with them. So what would you recommend? What would you say to give them some hope?
I think we're shifting into a different era. We had a lot of faith in medicines and technology and all of these things that we've done as man. And I think that a lot of times that's causing a lot of chaos in the body.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage people to go back to the basics of healthy living. Tune into your body. And if you don't know what that means, then I want you to work with someone who can help you understand what that means. But tune into your body and really think back, like, how would my ancestors have done this differently? What would they have been eating? What would they have been doing? What would their mornings look like? What would their daytime look like? And that is from everything from nutrition to movement to meditation to relaxation to all those different things. We have to get back to the basics of healthy living if we want to do this. And I know we think, oh, my insurance is going to pay for it, so I'm just going to go to my doctor. And let me ask you a question, and this is not to be rude, but how far has that gotten you? You know, the truth is that there are people who can help, people like Dr. Serge and people like me. We work with people every single day. And the key is investing in yourself, investing in your health. Think about Cheryl's story, the lady that I just told you just now. She had been to her doctor. She had tried everything on her own. She did not know how to do it on her own. She came to me and she said, I'm so confused about all the information that I'm reading out there on the internet. This tells me one thing, that tells me another thing. Can you just help me clear up this confusion? When she got the plan, when she realized how simple it truly is, because she had a plan that was very specific for her, then she realized that, I mean, now she's out there, she's making an impact. You can go from chaos to freedom in your health and make the impact that you are truly here to make if you will be willing to invest in yourself. So that's my message to you today. Commit and invest in yourself.
Thank you for that message of hope. And you're so right. People are so confused. Most of my clients, I'm sure it's the same for you. They've been to doctors after doctors, take medications, and it's not working. But natural healing is the future. So how can people reach out to you if they have any questions or if they want to work with you?
So I am at Chelsie. ChelseaWard.com is my website. You can message me on Facebook. I'm pretty active on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Chelsie Ward or Chelsie Ward Wellness. Shoot me a friend request, shoot me a message. My name is spelled CHELSIEWARD. So type me in correct, or you may get a different Chelsie. So just connect with me. I'm happy. I'm doing a sugar challenge right now, just kind of sharing, a lot of this nutrition advice with my audience, and we're on day 2. If you want to pop into that, let me know and I can get you the information. But I just want to give people hope that natural healing is possible. And if you haven't tuned into my book, it's called Healed His Way, available on Amazon. You can grab that too, just to kind of learn a few basic principles that you can start applying to your life right away.
Awesome. Thank you, Chelsie, for your time. I really appreciate it. And we had quite a bit of questions here. And thank you guys for watching, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Bye, Dr. Serge.
Bye.